Good morning, good afternoon, everyone from wherever you are joining us from this wonderful Wednesday. We are going to have a webinar today related to enhancing digital learning assessment in universities. My name is Maxwell Fundi. I'm part of the team from Edutab Africa, working very closely with the Association of African Universities to bring you the webinar today. I am joined by a few of my colleagues who will introduce themselves, and I would like my co-host Lazarus Mudenya to briefly introduce himself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Lazarus Mudenya. It's actually quite an honor and a privilege to be here today. I am so happy and excited and looking forward to today. And one of my dreams has just come true. I've always wanted to meet someone else called Lazarus Mudenya because apparently I'm the only one in the world. But today we have around 10 in the meeting. That said, we seem to have an issue with the link. Please make sure you have the right name. You can rename yourselves, and apologies for that mix-up. Thank you so much once again, and I can't wait to see what the session today holds. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you so much, Lazarus, for your quick introduction. Just to make sure that everybody can hear us, can I get a thumbs up if you can hear us? Please let me have a thumbs up reaction if you can hear us. Yes, thanks, Lazo. Victor, thank you. If you can hear us, thank you, Magdalene. If you can hear us, Yao, thank you. Yes, of course, we have a lot of Lazarus Mudenya, so I saw a lot of them have the thumbs up. So today we are going to talk about enhancing digital learning and assessment in universities or generally learning institutions, and we have presentation for you today, together with a few of a call to action where we will discuss. So first things first, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody to take a moment of silence for two people in this webinar today. One of them, probably a lot of us might have received communication about Nodumo. We've worked with Nodumo for many years, and she's been a fantastic person supporting AAU for many years. And we have Michael Mumbo, who's from Edutab Africa from our side, who has also been very instrumental to making sure that this webinar is a success. So these two people have been very instrumental to make sure that this webinar happens today. And I would like us to take a moment of silence to remember them because they are all departed or passed on recently. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. So now, before we get started, we would like to know where everybody is in the world and what your institution is. So I would like, Lazarus, if you can please start the poll that asks us where we are and what part of the world we are from. So please take the poll. It's two questions. One is where you are in the world. Thank you. Receiving lots of responses. Thank you very much. We will leave the poll open for the next minute. Thank you. We have a couple more answers. We'll leave this open for the next 45 seconds, and then we will end it. I also see some in the chat. Thank you so much. Jesse Agede from Federal University of Lafayette in Nigeria. I also see, hope I'm pronouncing that well, from Addis Ababa University. So much. We also have Chinaya. Okay, we can now end the poll, and then I'll do a very quick introduction of who Edutab is and continue with the day's agenda. Okay, so this webinar has been put together through the collaboration between the Association of African Universities and Edutab Africa. And I want to mention briefly who Edutab Africa is. We are an educational technology company that is based out of Kenya, but works across different continents. And our work revolves around use of technology to transform education. So together with our collaborators and partners, we work towards ensuring we are making learning more accessible and interactive. Using technology. Some of our partners include OnlyOffice, which some of us might know, which is a very collaborative tool in Moodle. We also have Catalyst, who are also premium Moodle partners, Save the Children, African Storybook, and many, many others. So that's about Edutab. Today, we are going to talk about, yes, Lazarus, I see your hand up.
Thank you so much, Maxwell. I just want to mention a few things quickly before we proceed. I've just shared the results of the polls, yeah, but I will close it for now. I just want to mention something very quickly for those who haven't yet changed their names. We understand there was a mix-up with the link. Please, what you can do is where you are, by default, you're usually the first person you're seeing on the list of participants up there. So you can just click on the three dots when you're there on your screen that appear on your further upper right hand. Then you see rename. Yes, rename. So when you click on rename, a pop-up is going to come up. Then you're going to write your name there. Yes. If you have any issues or concerns, you can please feel free to raise your hand or come off mute. Then we'll be able to assist. Thank you so much for that. Back to you, Maxwell.
Okay, thank you, Lazarus. So before we dive into the main parts of the day, which is mostly related to assessments and Moodle maturity framework. I would like to talk briefly about the hosting of Moodle. So some of us may have interacted with Moodle before. Some of us might be familiar. Some of us might be completely new to Moodle. And I would like Lazarus to get to understand who in the room is probably familiar with Moodle and who is not. So Lazarus, if you could take a minute and have the poll on Moodle open. Yeah, please take a moment and take the poll real quickly to just get us to understand how familiar we are with Moodle and what roles we take in our institutions, whether we are LMS administrative side of things. Thank you so much. I see results coming in. Yeah, please keep voting on the poll. Make sure you answer both of the questions. We'll leave this open for the next, say another 45, 1 minute, then we will proceed. Thank you so much for everybody who's participated in the poll. Probably Lazarus can now end the poll and share the results. So I'm going to talk very briefly about Moodle and Moodle Workplace. So we see that there are people who are very familiar with Moodle. Some of them are not familiar, and we also have people all the way across being in Asia. So as some of us may be familiar with Moodle, Moodle is a learning management system that is open source and it's free. The learning needs of different institutions. This could range from different academic levels or even in corporate. However, we also have a Moodle Workplace, and this builds on core Moodle, but it has a lot of more features that are premium, that allow a lot more flexibility comparing to the open source free Moodle. So looking at the learning management systems, we need to have some form of hosting for the learning management systems. Here, talking about Moodle, we have different options of hosting where an institution, say a university, can decide to completely buy new infrastructure or hardware, servers and everything, and have Moodle hosted within their premises. Or there's an option of hosting on the cloud where an institution might have an account with, say, AWS, Azure, or any form of cloud companies. But then there's also a different pathway of using Moodle certified partners who then can also support hosting of Moodle, including Moodle Workplace. And of course, there's a very limited platform called Moodle Cloud, where you host very, very small Moodle LMSs. Each of these has its own gives and takes. We may not dive into each of these in detail today, but we may have a follow-up webinar on this. Now, looking at how Moodle or LMS hosting has been happening, some of the things that Edutab can support together with the Association of African Universities is to help support in Moodle hosting for both large installations, or assuming you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 students. We've had issues where they are taking exams and people are having different issues related to sometimes system collapsing because of the demand. So we are able to support with very large installations that are stable and reliable and scale depending on the need. And we are also working towards supporting smaller institutions as well who do not have, say, 60,000 students. And how we are doing this is we support this by having this Moodle Workplace that allows multi-tenancy, where we can have different smaller institutions put together, but each institution has its own Moodle site, which helps to bring the cost down, as well as ensuring that they have a functional learning management system. And therefore, these are meant to support in ensuring that you get quality while still being cost effective. Now, once we have an LMS learning, then we might want to know how well the LMS is performing. And therefore, that's where we have also this package called Moodle Maturity Framework. This is specifically tailored to Moodle. And what is a maturity framework? This is a self-assessment framework that really looks at how well the organization is doing in different areas. So this is more or less an evaluation of how MS is. So it identifies which then help you improve and take the opportunities that exist to improve your learning management system. And all this is basically to ensure that your institution is meeting both your teaching, the learning, and the strategic goals. And as I said, this framework is specifically tailored for Moodle, and it is based on the JISC systems, the JISC Digital Maturity Framework, which is a UK-based standard. Now, how we can help with this, once we have the LMS running with the maturity framework, then we can do the benchmark to see how your LMS is performing against the best practices, which I mentioned from before. It's based on the JISC Digital Maturity Framework. So we will be able to identify gaps and then use those gaps to make sure that you have standardized quality. And then once we have those results, then we are able to make to support you to make strategic decisions to ensure your LMS is aligned to your needs. And what does this maturity framework cover? It covers around 6 areas. In the center of this diagram, we have the digital and physical infrastructure, because without that, then we can't have an LMS. And all around that, we have things like knowledge management. How are we managing knowledge within the institution, which is related to the LMS? How are we supporting organizational digital culture? And how are we exchanging those ideas? And how are we even creating knowledge? So the Moodle maturity framework that we have together with our partners ensures that all these key areas are covered to ensure that we identify any gaps that might be in existence. And how this results of a maturity framework looks like. I want first to show a very quick demo. So the maturity framework is generally a self-evaluation where you've got many questions, about 62 questions that are evaluating each of the 6 areas of the maturity framework. And once you finish taking this evaluation by yourself, then you will receive a dashboard like this, which shows for each of the 6 key areas that the maturity framework is evaluating, how well are you doing? So it scores each of the 6 areas. For example, knowledge exchange and partnerships. Of course, the maximum score is about 3. So for this case, we could the communication. So probably in this institution, these people are exchanging more with other people, but then within the institutions that aren't communicating as much. For example, again, if we look at the digital infrastructure on my bottom right, you would see that this organization was doing very well in digital support. They seem to be very good with digital support. But then when you look at the robust digital infrastructure, it's scoring very low. So probably the digital support was related to non-robust digital infrastructure, which means the infrastructure wasn't great enough to do some of the things they need, and therefore they needed a lot more support. So this is how the learning management system maturity framework results look like. They allow you to visualize your survey. So I have already done the demo. And for how we can help on this, first, if you clicked on yes on the registration related to receiving links and things after the webinar, we will be creating an account for you and sending you a link so that you are able to fill in the survey. And once you fill in the survey, you will receive a very similar dashboard. And then from there, we can explore how we can support. So based on that, I would like to stop there and see whether there are any questions related to Moodle Workplace hosting and the learning maturity framework. Feel free to unmute and ask a question or just write it on the chat before we move to the next session. Lazarus, if you can help me see if there are any questions on the chat. Feel free to unmute and ask a question or raise your hand or type in the chat if you have any questions or okay. If there are no questions, then I would like to hand it over to my colleague, Lazarus, who will now handle the part of assessment in STEM. So Lazarus, over to you.
Hi everyone. One, please confirm audible enough. Thumbs up would suffice. And two, confirm that you are seeing my screen. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. So let's get to it. So we'll be looking at Stack. Um, I hope. Yeah. Okay. So Stack. So perhaps some of us have heard of Stack before. Um, but what is Stack? So Stack, yeah, is the world-leading open source system for math and STEM um, subject assessment. So we often have these particular online platforms where we are able um, to do various courses, but sometimes we find that there might be some limitations in the aspect of assessment, especially when we are talking about assessing math or science related subjects, because many a times we are limited to either text based answers or just the usual um, multiple choice questions. Then Stack is also available on Moodle, LMS, and also Ilias, and it can also be integrated via LTI. Yeah, so Stack offers this particular functionality um, whenever it comes to the assessment of math and STEM based subjects. Okay, so again, why does okay, just a minute, sorry for that. Yeah, thank you so much. Before I get to the next bit, please, Maxwell, share the poll um, on Stack. Sorry for that.
Okay, I'm just opening another poll that we can take maybe a minute or maybe a minute to see how familiar we are with Stack. And I think the poll should now be ready. Please take a minute to fill in the current poll that's on. Yeah, I see lots of votes coming in. Familiar, never heard of it before. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's keep filling on the poll. Yeah, we need more polls. We are leaving that open for the next 1 minute, please. Make sure you open, make sure you respond to the poll. Thank you. Please keep responding to the poll for the next 30 seconds before we end it, please. Thank you. Let's keep answering the poll. Next 15 seconds. Perfect, thanks. So I'll just end the poll now, and then we can have Lazarus proceed. So back to you.
Hi, Maxwell. Please share the poll. Yeah. Okay. So I guess we can proceed. Thank you so much for that. Please, it gives us a bit of understanding on where we are currently, and happy to learn that most of us are not and are actually relatively new to Slack. It makes this all the more amazing. So I'll just share my screen once again so that we can proceed. Again, please confirm that you can see my screen. You can just mention to me, just come up to me, tell me if you can see my screen, then we can proceed. Okay, can anyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so we've already had what Stack is in a nutshell, but then a quick question: why does Stack matter? So let's look at it this way. Yeah. So we often look at the assessment of most courses or most subjects, and the main aspect that we want to look into are the concepts. Are the students able to understand what is being taught? Yeah, but we most of the time find ourselves just limited to the choices that are given by the learning management systems that we might be using. But how as a lecturer, how can we check and see whether um, the students are really understanding, they grasp those particular concepts? Yeah, and I actually just took the time to think about it this way. All questions focus on one major thing: do does the student understand the concept? So the question is, do I understand the concept? So the choice is, yeah, you can either not understand the question, you can find yourself you're not sure, then you can understand the question. But then now let me take this time to ask this: how do you tell if a student understands a given concept based on the question that you've asked? After all, if we are only focusing on basic or the usual choices that are given, maybe a multiple choice question or those cases where they can choose one, what if it's just random? How do you assess this and know whether the student is able to understand that particular concept that has been taught? So this is where STAR comes in, especially in the aspect of STEM and mathematical related questions. So one, STEM offers the functionality of giving and even answering algebraic, giving the students giving algebraic answers. A case like x squared plus y, yeah, and many other options that are there, be it graph-based questions where a student is able to. Sorry.
Thank you for highlighting that the slide's not moving. Thank you so that Thank you so much for that, Prof. Cornelia and Miss Ganol. So Lazarus, if you can probably go back to your previous slide and make sure that the
Have you seen the next slide? Are we all at the next slide?
so we can see why does stack matter, benefits of stack.
Okay, please confirm now if we are together. Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to share the presentation, and then Lazarus can tell me when to move to the next slide. Share my screen. Okay. So we are on why does stack matter and its benefits. Please go ahead, Lazarus. You will let me know when you need me to go to the next slide.
Okay, thank you so much, Maxwell, and thank you so much, Professor, for pointing that out. Yeah, so we were at why does stack matter? Yeah, so we are just looking at the benefits of stack. As I had started, the focus we Stack offers the functionality or the ability to give algebraic answers. You find that if I give an example of Moodle, you are able to quiz students on questions, mathematical questions, and they're able to see algebraic questions, for example. But then you're often left with only getting to choose from a variety of choices that have been provided. Now, Stack gives this particular ability where students can actually key in those particular algebraic answers, for example, as they would have written them if they were doing a written exam. In this case, it offers that particular functionality. And again, it goes past not just having algebraic answers, but even graphical questions are available when it comes to Stack. Then again, we have another thing called validation and assessment. Many times we find students failing to get answers correct, especially in written exams, and it can also be because of a technicality, for example. So you find that maybe someone didn't give a bracket, a closing bracket, which now makes the answer not correct. But why should a student fail on a certain matter such as technicality of leaving out the closing bracket to, let's say, an algebraic expression, for example, which we are going to look into this in just a moment. Then it provides feedback based on the response that has been given, not something general. Let's give a case where a student missed a given step. So Stack, as a lecturer, you are able to give, or a teacher, you are able to give feedback based on that particular answer that a student has provided. Then one of the other key features of Stack is randomization. So at times you find a case where a student, if they are to redo a question, or if you're given an exam, all the students are doing the same question as it appears. So randomization brings back the aspect of students being able to understand a concept and rather than just going back to um, the same answer, which we're also going to see shortly. Then Moodle offers sorry, Stack is available in quite a number of languages. Yeah, and again, it's open source. So if you're able to work towards customizing it based on what you need, it's very much available. Max, next slide, please. Yeah. So at this particular moment, I'd like us to have a few demos to see these particular benefits of Stack or these particular functionalities in practice. And at this point, I'm going to share my screen once again. Okay. Please confirm that um, you can see my screen. Okay. Thank you so much. So we can proceed. So we talked about, just mentioned about um, how Stack provides randomization for questions. So I'm going to take this question here. So it's about the two times table. So it reads, each time it is shown the value after the multiplying sign is a random even value from 2 to 10. So meaning every time we get to see this question, we are going to have 2 times any number between 2 and 10. So let's just see it in practice. So we have 2 times 4, which gives us 8. Yeah. So let's check this. Sorry, just a moment. Yeah. Here we are. Okay, all okay. So let's check. So it says correct answer, well done. Let's do this. Let me try and start a new preview. Let's see. Okay, so the initial one was saying 2 times 4. So now we have 2 times 6. So in the case a student wants to, let's say, reattempt, maybe they had given a wrong response and now they want to redo the quiz again. So you see now it has shifted now from 4 to 6, yeah, which now gives us 12, yeah. Um, then let's try and see. What if I put a wrong answer? Maybe 2 times 6. Then I was typing quickly. I put 1. I forgot to put the 2 and see. Yeah, I'm told it's an incorrect answer. So it also enables one to be in a position to check that. Yeah. Then I move to another demonstration quickly. So earlier on, when I was talking about concepts versus choices, we are not saying that having multiple choice questions are wrong. No, no. They're still okay depending on the type of question that you're given. A good example is this question, which says, pick the biggest number in the list. So the biggest number in the list here we have is 77. So let me just check that. Yeah. So just give me a minute to refresh my page. Okay, it's okay. Sorry about that. Um, just allow me to refresh this. They've been like this for a while. Just a moment. Okay. Yeah. So let me just proceed because of time. So the multiple choices are also very much available, and still the randomization is also there. So in the case where you are to choose a question, you are to give an answer, then you go back to that question after another attempt, they are going to have changed the numbers and the order here. So I really love equations, algebraic equations, and I want just to show you this one. So we are talking about the aspects of validation and the students being able to go through the steps that they took in order to get to an answer. So in this case, we have the equation 5x is equals to 30 plus 2x. But then I'm required to show the working in this case. So you find that the first step would be, let's say I take 2x to the other side, then that will be 5x minus 2x, that will give me 3x. So I'll have 3x is equal to 30, yeah? Then if I simplify, then I'll have x is equal to 10. So if you can check on my right, just next to the input box there, it is checking to see whether whatever I'm doing is mathematically correct. So it's already doing those checks and validating. So at this particular point, let's say if I would have made an error, then it can bring it out, yeah, and point it out. Like for example, now there's a question mark. What does this mean? So what is on the left needs to be equal or not on the right based on the checks that are put here. Then after that, I check this. Okay, so I'm given 1 mark for a correct response and 1 mark for showing my working. That's great. So what if I was just to go straight, yeah, to the answer? Yeah, because yeah, I know that this equation is going to give me 10. Maybe I'm that bright student in the class who's very quick and I can get this answer very quickly. So I say x is equal to 10. Yeah, then I check this. So the response that I receive is I get 1 mark for a correct response, and an additional mark was available if I had shown my working. So I'm able to learn where the mistake that I've done is, and then when I do this question again, at least I know whether to follow through. So we talked about concepts and the choices that are provided. So I'm not as a teacher or as a lecturer, I can check and see if my students are following through what we're able to learn in class. So for the interest of time, I think it's okay if I can close at that particular demo. Yeah. Then I think Maxwell, please can continue sharing your screen. Then we proceed from there.
Yes, for sure. Let me do that for you right away. Just a minute. Okay, over to you, Lazo.
Thank you so much, Maxwell. So how can we help? Yeah. So we can help in setting up the backend that is required to use Stack, and this goes into the integration with your LMS, for example, Moodle, so that you can use this particular Stack in your own LMS. Then we also do training on Stack, how to use Stack in your course based on the LMS that you have. And we also offer continued support. Even after we are through with the training and the setup, we still offer continued support in helping you get the most or the best that you can out of the Stack and your LMS. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe something else I might want to add is that Stack is not only for just mathematics. If you're teaching physics, chemistry, biology, anything that has some form of scientific things to be done, this includes like equations, graphs, and things like that. Stack comes in very handy. We didn't have a lot of time today to demonstrate all this, but I think graphs would also be very exciting to see how you can present graphs, for example, to students, either to interpret them or even for students to build graphs. And graphs are quite common across many science subjects, from geography, physics, chemistry, and things like that. So we would like to stop there and see whether there's anybody with any questions related to the topics that we've discussed today. Please feel free to either type on the chat or unmute and ask a question related to either the Moodle Workplace Hosting, the LMS Maturity Framework, as well as Stack and implementation. Any questions? Yes, I see a hand up. Yao, yeah, please,
Yes,
please
yes,
go ahead and ask your question. Yes.
yes. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon also, depending on where you are. And thank you for that, clear presentation and for all that you have introduced to us so far, especially the stack. And I'm interested in the stack. Thank you for introducing it to us. I've never heard of it before. And I think it's a good online assessment tool. And it is filling a gap that we had been yearning to have all these years. So I think it's a good assessment tool. But my question is it only for the assessment of mathematics and science? What about other subject areas, like those of us who are in the humanities and social sciences?
Thank you so much. Yeah, this is a very interesting and good question. So I would say that largely its huge application is in STEM and science, because this is where we have a lot of things related to questions, for example, in mathematics, all the way from calculus, from simple mathematics, like multiplication, additions, and things like that, to very complicated things like partial differential questions and statistics and things like that. Now, coming down to humanities, I believe in humanities, you also have like very basic
I think you've gone up. The network is not stable.
mathematics that you teach in humanities. For example, it's taught within the humanities, doing its basic things. Sorry, I was just saying that for science and math, sorry about that. Initially, for science and math and things like that, because of all the mathematical equations and formulas and all these things when you're teaching basic statistics. However, this would not be suitable for where you need to, for example, assess essays or things like that, or you want to assess in certain places. So if you're in humanities, then when you think about basic statistics or basic computations that people in humanities need to learn, then it would come in very handy in that. And thank you so much for your Yes, I see the question around whether we can have a recorded version of this. So yes, there has been a recording, and this could be shared with all of you after the call. Okay, yes. I see someone saying it wasn't around at the beginning and I want the links. Yes, we will be able to share the recording after the call. So I see we already just share the last screen. Okay. So this is how you can contact us. Please feel free to drop us an email at info@edutab.africa, and we will be very pleased to have a conversation with you around how either you can use Stack or how you can use the Moodle learning, the Moodle maturity framework, or how we can support you either get started with learning management system on the hosting Stack, as well as different ways that you can improve your e-learning. So thank you so much. I would like to leave it at that. I'll be ending the meeting in just a minute, but just wanted to share this contact, as well as to mention, we will also be sharing with you or anybody who said yes to receiving materials after the call. We'll also be sharing with you a link with your account details where you can go and fill in the learning, the Moodle maturity framework. Thank you so much. I think that would be it from our side. Yeah, thank you so much, Prof, for your comments. So we appreciate and have a very good day. And we look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Most welcome. Most welcome, and bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jaberu.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
It was an enjoyable experience. Thank you.